Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 43 of my Agrarian Skies Hardcore Quest Let's Play. This game pack by Jadedcat is available on the Feed the Beast launcher. Today is going to be the first of what I hope to be a few cosmetic improvement episodes, where my goal is going to be to make the island look better. To start off, I want to choose a texture pack, and I want to involve you guys. Help me out picking out which texture pack I should use. So right now I'm doing a little tour around the island. This is what everything looks like in the default vanilla texture pack. There are no alterations. This is just what the game comes like bog standard. And a quick trip into the nether just as a reminder. I'm going to show off a couple more and then I'm going to ask you guys to pick your favorite. Let everything load in. Got some chunk issues coming from the server. I love how fast and smooth I can just fly around in the nether now. It's kind of nice. So there's your island textures and nether textures under the default pack. The second texture pack option is Faithful 32, which is an upscale of the default textures from 16 pixel to 32 pixel. It is one of my favorites because it is very clearly obvious what everything is. You never have a problem with someone saying, hey, I saw this thing, but I don't know what it is because I don't know your texture pack. But everything just looks a little cleaner, a little smoother, a little better overall. Now you'll notice that not all of the mod items upscale properly. For example, blood magic I don't believe has any textures available for it that I've seen, especially the runes, but these are rather difficult, I would imagine. So there's our overworld in Faithful, including monsters, and here's our nether. And I'll take the same little tour out this way. The nether doesn't look a whole lot different between the two, unless you get real up close and get a good look at the nether rack. And the pigmen are a bit different. So there's Faithful 32. Next option is going to be Sortex Fanver. This is, or fan version. This is smooth and clean. It is a 64 by 64 texture pack, so twice the pixels as Vadic's Faithful. It has some really cool UIs to it, and of the 64 texture packs I've seen, it is my favorite so far. Both for the extensive mod support and just for the general textures. Everything looks good. I flew into the laser again, didn't I? Sure did. Where's my... So here's the island in Sortex. I really like the look of the edge stone and the gravel pathways. The edged bricks are nice. Border stone. All of the machines. Once again, blood magic not changed. Here's your nether in Sortex. Big difference. Netherrack has a completely altered look. The ores do not stand out near as much. Well, some of them don't. Lava has a really cool texture. Where are you at? Come here. I got a sword with your name on it. Gotcha. Ghasts are just as creepy as ever. And here's the same little tour. Glowstone looks really cool in this texture pack. It was obviously retextured to be intended to be used as a decorative block. Alright. Last, but certainly not least, is Jadedcat's own mix pack for 1.6. This uses elements of Sortex, elements of Sphax, and just other random... I don't honestly know. Oh, Wolfhound. I've never heard of Wolfhound. And she has permission to share all of these textures in her own mix pack, and has graciously put them on the launcher for us to use. Not as giant of a fan of the UI. And as you can see, the stone seems to come straight out of Sortex, just with a bit of an alpha shift. The torches have been changed out for these candle-looking guys. Oops. I ran into the ground. That's a pretty cool contrast. That looks weird. I like it. Mycelium looks cool. So there's a lot of really cool textures, but it also would take a lot of explaining of this is exactly what this is. I mean, that nether wart, that nether rack, or that soul sand underneath it, the nether brick, these are iron blocks. Everything's going to look very different, which, you know, has its ups and its downs. Here's your nether. This is netherrack. There's your endothermic pump. A little bit of the nether lapis. Huh. There's a couple of random wisps in here. That's actually kind of fantastic. Come here. I want to stab you. Come back here. Dang, I had my inhibitor on me. There's your lava texture and your standard nether tour. So there will be a straw poll that should be popping up in an annotation right now. Vote for your favorite texture pack and let me know which one I should use. Now, for the rest of this episode, I'm going to use Sortex. There we go. Got Sortex all sorted. Now, besides asking you guys to help me pick out a texture pack, today I'm going to be turning this green stained clay into a lawn. Because as nice as it is to have, you know, one big uniform look to it, I want something that feels a little bit more alive. And I feel like the best way to accomplish that is with grass. To accomplish the transformation to lawn, I'm going to head over here and grab out my wand focus of equal trade. And before I get started with it, oops, my wand is not where I thought I left it. In fact, it is in here. Fantastic. Before I get started with it, I'm going to upgrade this a little bit. How, you ask? Well, I'm just going to toss it right into the auto enchanter and let it gain whatever it will. That'll put 30 levels worth of something into the wand focus, which is likely to give it some expanded area of effect and reduced cost. But we will see briefly. See you then. Alright, here we go. Everything's all enchanted up. Received a wand focus with potency 3, frugal 3, and treasure 3. Treasure isn't going to be a big help. It is basically the fortune of the wand enchanting world. Frugal and potency will both help. Frugal causes the wand to cost less, 0.06 per cast instead of, I believe, the 0.07. There we go. So to use the wand focus of equal trade, you put down the block you want to trade to. Point at it, hold shift, and right click. For now it's set to dirt, now it's set to green clay. And to trade things out, you point at them, you can left click to do a single block, or you can right click to do an area. That area is increased by the potency enchant. There we are. Fantastic. And it will grab the clay off of the ground and put it into your inventory for you. At least until you run out of inventory space. But that's a simple enough fix. we can stash a couple of these items that I'm not using at the moment. Like the armor inhibitor. Really, who needs inhibited armor? Cover, cover, clay, cover, dirt, clay, clay. Oh, you know what? Yep, this guy is out of ordo. So the whole point of this is to get myself a lawn eventually. You do not have ordo. You do not have ordo either. Ordo must have been one of the ones I had over here. There we go. 22. That's not nearly enough. Now, it'll take some time, but with the grass placed down in, with the dirt placed down in place of the green clay, it will all eventually turn into grass. Because I have a little bit of grass there for it to connect to, and it's slowly spreading. And it's just fantastic. I'm gonna have to do something about this whole cover issue. I'm not certain if I can use a grass cover or not, but I guarantee you I will find out sometime soon. This wand is just so cool. I love equal trade, especially with potency and frugal. So much of everything is being turned into dirt. Fantastic. And then there's the grass. And to bridge the gap, I can simply use my silk touch pick to pick up some actual grass. And I can set down a piece of dirt where I grabbed it from. And I can then go put the grass over here. And that'll start spreading. Going to continue spreading the lawn. I'm out of order again. I'm going to fill this guy back up. And I'll be... Actually, you know what? I've got a bunch of free nodes. No. I want to show how to move a node properly before I just use up the free rewards. So I'm going to go get this charged back up. And I'm going to finish replacing all of the green stained clay with dirt. And I'll be back soon. Alrighty folks, you'll notice that I have a lawn. Well, I've got dirt everywhere anyway. I grabbed a bunch of pieces of grass using my Silk Touch pickaxe so that I could distribute them and get this whole thing moving a little bit faster. And so I've got patches of grass all over the place. And the dirt will eventually get completely covered. Nothing to do about that, but wait. I think it looks a lot better with a little bit of a lawn going, as opposed to the green stained clay. Let's see, something else that I wanted to do. This annoys me. There's no reason for it to do that. And honestly, there's very little reason for this entire setup being the way it is. Like, that conduit is running through here purely so that it can get power to this room. Well, there's a better way for me to do that, isn't there? I have higher tech than that these days. So I'm actually going to clean up this conduit, and I'm going to run everything by teleportation, because I have that as an option. And I believe that a good place to set up my input can be right under there. Maybe? I'll figure that part out when I get over here. First of all, everything gets shut down. And I tell my system to make me more tesseracts. I'm going to want, well, there's one. I'm going to want, oh, how many exactly? 2 more, I think. Yes, 2 more. So I've taught my system how to create the tesseracts, stuff them. Has no power. Oh, how about I use my system before I depower it? there's your derp for the day. Yeah. All right. So I've taught my system how to create the tesseract frames, stuff them into the resident ender fluid transposer, and then the fluid transposer outputs into this interface here. You'll notice that this texture pack has a bit of a weirdness going on with the magma crucibles, where it makes the front window kind of destroy textures and you can see right through. I don't know if that's something I've done or if it's something from the default download of the texture pack or if there's any sort of an updated version available, but that's what I have. All right, so there's one of two. I'm out of Enderium. Imagine that. If you remember, Enderium blend, I'm just going to make a stack of it, goes into the, I know I taught you, oh, it just goes that fast. Enderium blend does not go that fast. What's going on here? 3 pulverized tin, 1 pulverized shiny metal. Be right back. Here's the problem, folks. I never set the cyclic assembler to accept items from the bottom. So there you have it. Auto-producing Enderium. I haven't set the Enderium blend up to be automatically smelted anywhere yet, but as long as I'm at it, why don't I do that? Whoops, accidentally tossed something, didn't I? So I had this induction furnace set up here already. So I'm just going to smelt 2 of those. And I can come down here to my pattern encoder as soon as these Enderium are ready. And I can tell it that 2 Enderium blend and 1 pyrotheum dust equals 2 Enderium ingots. Now if I put this recipe into here, we should see it start processing. And it'll keep making them as long as it needs more Enderium ingots. Now I can literally auto-craft a tesseract from start, from base, because it knows how to make the ingots. It doesn't know how to make pulverized shiny metal, I do not believe. And all of my shiny is currently being made in ingots. So I should see if I've got a pulverizer right there. I can teach it how to make that real quick, and then it'll know how to make every step along the chain. From my point of view, I consider this level of auto-crafting fairly cosmetic. It's cute, it's neat, it's fun, and it doesn't really serve much mechanical purpose. But sometimes fun is all you need. There. So now, I do not have any, well, I have 2 Enderium ingots in the system, but I can totally tell it to craft me another tesseract, and it will ship things off to get smelted. And once they are, it'll make the tesseract frame empty. You'll see that tick off in just a second here. See, pretty neat. I'm happy with it. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to change these 2 from supplying energy to receiving. And I'm going to dig up all of this cable. My whole base just lost power, so everything's kind of angry. Going to grab up these redstone energy cells. I like having the energy cells as an extra buffer. Having that extra storage as just kind of a battery is nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my big reactor to basically be a Enderium reactor kind of deal. I don't know, a resonant ender reactor? Sure, why not? these 3 tesseracts are going to do nothing except send energy. That is their only job. You want to be careful not to right-click a block too fast after setting it down, or apparently you will crash. Careful with that. Default sending energy. Default sending energy. Fantastic. So now I'm going to set up my resident energy cells. I'm going to shift click the middle to turn them off entirely. I'm going to set the back to accept power and the bottom to send power. Now if I run back over here, I should see this guy is getting power again. Fantastic. So these are now supplying power to this entire room, and all of these conduits are no longer necessary. And I can fill this back in with dirt and put the gravel road back down. In fact, do I have any more full gravel road? I don't need the covers anymore. That's right, I taught my system how to make me gravel road because I got sick of doing it by hand. It's largely why I teach my applied energistic system how to craft anything. So I get tired of doing it by hand. And then, so that I can still supply power to this little B area, even though I'm not currently using any of it, I'm going to grab another tesseract, start crafting me another one. I want to always keep at least one tesseract just available. Alright, it's receiving energy. This is a pain. On 25. And you know, I think I might change that default. It would require a lot of extra configuration, but having the items and power moving on the same frequency is causing me some trouble. But not so much so that I'm too worried about it. Anyway. Get the rest of my lawn filled in. These green stained illuminators are just a really cool addition. Though maybe I should change that color. What do you guys think? Let me know if I should change the illuminators in my lawn to be a different color. One tiny bit of snow there. Because cryotheum. Alright. So that gets me a fairly nice lawn. And the bees will keep spreading the flowers around that lawn, which will be very useful because having more flowers will be very helpful. I have been recycling the bees through as they have finished, and I am slowly building up a stock of honeycomb to centrifuge. Ooh. Where'd that guy come from? Glad creeper, friendly creepers is turned on. I don't know what mod adds the ability to make it so only creepers don't destroy land, but it's definitely only the creepers. As long as we're talking about aesthetics, I was made aware by a viewer who wishes to remain anonymous that the iron chests can in fact be rotated. You can't do so from the sides, but if you point at the top, then you can whack it and turn it around. And as you can see, it's now facing the other direction. Now, setting all of this up as grass has caused one small issue with the farms. These melons are no longer staying inside where I told them to. But part of the plan was to make a nice little walkway around the farms anyway, using border stone panels. Because I think that that looks pretty nice. And I was just going to surround each farm right like that. So, let me make a whole bunch of this stuff. And show you what that looks like. You can let me know what you think of having a border stone outline pathway around your farm. This is something that I actually picked up from real world gardening, having a bit of a path around each of the garden blocks. It just provides a nice visual break to everything and very clearly delineates, oh, these plants belong here. It would help if I wasn't terrible at placing these. You'd think flight would make that better, but flight is just a little bit floaty feeling and kind of imprecise in nature. I wonder if the Omni Wrench can go through these fasters. Nope. It's supposed to work as shears, but I don't suppose shears are the proper tool for breaking down a melon anyway. Whoops. Right, silk touch. Can't remember if it was swords or axes that are best for taking care of melons. Now, as far as the lighting goes, you can leave it recessed into the ground like that, and I don't think that looks bad. But if you're not a fan of that particular style, you can also just move it up one block and have it be right... Well, allow me to demonstrate. Set it up right there. But I'd recommend a different color if you're going to do something like that. Alternatively, you can't use glowstone illuminators to do it, but if you're using regular glowstone, you can make glowstone slabs. So, if I were to say, grab myself a bit of glowstone, cut that into slabs, I could just as easily set that there and have that be my lighting. And it's not a bad look. I like my illuminators. I'm going to keep using them. And I like having them in the ground. I might recolor them though. But that's just because I don't like green. And that's nothing against green. I can't see green. So those lights appear to be kind of a dull tan or khaki color to me. It makes aesthetic work rather difficult. Color combinations usually end up using a lot of bright yellow and bold reds and blues, just so that it's something that I can see and be interested in. I also like high contrast. A lot of black and white outlining. And interesting textures like this stone that's all shades of gray. That works too. Alright, I'm going to finish getting this outlined. And then I'll show you a completed pic of what we've accomplished so far in prettying up the island today. And here we have the completed farms. I've added a little bit more lighting, as without these extra glowstone panels, mobs were able to spawn on the inside. It's part of where my issues have been coming from. So I've got my walkways going around, broke up the symmetry a little bit with the glowstone panels and with the way the illuminators are placed around the edges. As much as the human mind thinks it wants symmetry, we're not great at perceiving it. When we see it, it unsettles us slightly. So you want something almost symmetrical, just a little bit off. This area is actually probably a little bit too much like symmetry, but it looks nice. So, I also tossed glowstone covers on top of the tesseracts because the top of the harvester was a point where monsters could spawn. Grass has been extending around. you'll notice that grass changes color based on biome. When I'm over here in my forest biome, it's what I assume is a lovely shade of, slightly dusky green. Over here in the plains, it should be a slightly brighter green. Down here in the swamp, it's rather dark and almost dead looking. That will help me see which biome I'm in on the minimap. If I use page up and page down to scroll around, I can zoom in and out. And that'll help a lot for bees. Assuming I don't just decide to banish the need to care about what biome I'm in altogether. There's still some dirt here and there. The grass needs more time to spread. But it's looking pretty nice so far. One other cosmetic issue. My flower's growing. Yay. I shut off the beacon effects. It was nice having the buffs, but the particle effects were killing me. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I thought it would be a little more YouTube friendly to not have them around. So, I believe that is it for this episode of Cosmetic Improvements. Next time, I'm going to be taking out this house and replacing it with one of my own design. I really like this house, and I am really happy that Jaded and Morvalera were so kind to give us a nice home to start with, but I'd like to have something of my own design. So, thank you very much for joining me. Let me know by the poll, which will be linked in the description, what texture pack you would like me to use. Also, feel free to make any other suggestions that you'd like to in the comments below, or discuss the texture packs that are available. If you've been enjoying the series so far, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're so inclined, give me a shout out on Twitter or Facebook. See you next time.